Igmon, Part 5. Something bad had happened. Six could see the hugging and crying going on outside the shelter. He was not prepared for what, though. Six knew Lizarine was close to death, but not this close. He did not know that they were so closely connected that they would die at the same time. Six still liked his plan, but it would have to wait. Six was dealing with an unexpected situation himself. Before he died, Igmon took the 2 journals he kept since the day that he landed and hid them in a secret location. With the journals was a small tracking beacon connected to a receiver that would be in possession of whomever was in charge of Bunker 1 when they landed. The last notes were of concern for his people and the planet itself. He believed their presence here would harm the planet, and the planet would always try to rid itself of this parasite. He signed it, Igmon. The few people that had died since they started raising a family were buried in a field overlooking the ocean. Nothing was done with the first dead body, and it stunk very bad. The next one had all its body fluids drained and buried deeper. This time, no smell. This was not to be the case with Igmon and Lizarine. Igmon had left a letter describing what he wished for himself. It is what he had planned for his lovely wife. While waiting for Lizarine to die, Six noticed that Damon looked worse than usual. He had just used the machine and felt so much better. He decided to use it on Damon just to see if it would help. Placing Damon's hand on the device, it began to hum. Six always thought it sounded like the vibration the tunnels made back home. But no, that was never his home. It never felt like it anyway. After about 5 minutes, Six noticed a different change in Damon's skin color. After 10, his eyes were brighter. After 30 minutes, Six shut it off. Damon looked at him and uttered, "Dah." As to Igmon's request, Lizarine and Bonvicamande were set adrift on the sea. There was not a dry eye as they watched them until they could see them no more. Wrapped around their lifeless bodies were trinkets, hand-drawn pictures, and photographs. A thin veil was attached across the top. A rod with the shirt Igmon was wearing the day he landed on Earth flying in the wind, and was the last thing any of them ever saw of Igmon and Lizarine. With each session of the machine, Damon got a little better. Not back to where he was, but better. He communicated and even laughed a little. Six rested the machine for 3 weeks and decided to use it on Terrence. His skin also improved, not so flaky and dry. Light came back in his eyes as well. His booming laughter came back too, louder, slower, haunting. He didn't talk though, more of a grunt. Resting the machine again, Six waited to use it on Alice, praying it would work. Now being in charge, Lyndon called a meeting. He felt things should stay the same as if Igmon and Lizarine were still there. Everyone had their jobs and should continue to do them. Lyndon would take over the lab and daily operations. His wife, Janelle, would assist him. Jarvis would replace Lyndon as gatherer of raw materials, used for making fuel for the lights and lab equipment. Jaden would be his trainee. The other 8 would continue to do the jobs they had always done. And as Lyndon told them, start making babies. There was no change in Alice. She didn't talk, laugh, or smile. Saddened, Six went for a walk. The moon was so full, so Six stayed in the shadows. He walked to where they had buried the other bodies. The markers for them were there, but there were no new markers. Where did they bury Igmon and Lizarine? Six so wanted to dig them up and bring them back to life, just so he could kill them again and again. But where were they? He had to find out. Six came up with a plan to trap one of the 12 still alive. Jarvis and Jaden worked closely together, Jarvis never missing a chance to teach as they worked. Walking over a pile of leaves and branches, they felt the world give under their feet. The last thing Jaden remembered feeling was a sharp pain in his legs. Jarvis never felt a thing. As the sun finally set and darkness filled the cave opening, Six said, "Come on, boys, let's go check our little trap." For 2 weeks they had checked, for 2 weeks nothing. This time as they walked up, they noticed the branches and leaves were gone. Six ran to the hole and looked down. One sharp stake was coming out of Jarvis's left eye, dead as dead can be. Jaden was struck through both legs, his arms folded behind him in very wrong angles. As Six pushed Jaden's head around back and forth, slapping his cheek, saying, "Wake up, wake up," Terrence and Damon were removing the body of Jarvis. Dragging him from the hole, they set him down and watched their father work. There was no panic when Jarvis and Jaden didn't return. Lyndon himself had stayed out many nights looking for materials. It was, after all, a big, beautiful, safe island. By the third night, he knew something was wrong. By the fourth night, they were all dead.